So you have Q's, we have A's all week. People email and they want to know. And so we give you answers. So if you just email me at San Diego County Gun Owners or you email us at Gun Owners Radio, any kind of question, maybe it's on how to get your CCW or what's going on with this policy or that law or this person or whatever, we'll answer it. We'll answer it right here on the air and make sure that everybody gets the answer because they're probably thinking it too. Okay, so the first one was from, let's see, this is from James here in San Diego. He said, what do you think about the new head of the NRA, Doug Hamlin? James, it's an extremely timely question because on, it was Thursday of this week, I was invited to go meet Doug Hamlin in person at a town hall in Orange County. So myself and a crew of hardworking activists, we actually rented a big old passenger van and took a road trip and went up to Orange County and met with Doug Hamlin and some of his folks. It was great. It was really, really well done. I spoke to him on the phone a couple weeks prior. We talked about some of my concerns with NRA, some of my experiences with NRA. Both as a member and as somebody who runs San Diego County Gun Owners. And we talked a lot about the future, what he's looking to do. We found out that we had some friends in common. I spoke with those common friends and said, hey, I just talked to Doug Hamlin. What do you think? I got glowing reviews. So I'm giving him a shot. We went up and listened to his talk. They're very interested in putting all the trouble that the NRA's had behind them. I'm very interested in NRA being an effective organization once again. And this is a whole new crew. Now, one thing I really do like about Doug is, of course, talking to him was great, and the things he said all were great. It sounds like they want to move forward, and I'm absolutely going to judge them on their results and their actions. But I really like what they have to say so far. One of the things I really liked was that he was brought up and put into place by a group of people who have reform in mind when it comes to NRA. So they're board members and other people that are very involved in NRA who are very interested in improving the organization, who are very concerned and very upset at the way things went down over the last 10 years when it comes to NRA, because we need to have a national organization. Now, that being said, I got to tell you, a lot of good things have happened in the last 10 years without NRA. You know, organizations like FPC stepped up and filled a huge leadership role. Second Amendment Foundation, you know, there's a lot of organizations that stepped up and said, hey, you know what, we're not stopping. We're going to do a lot of good things. San Diego County Gun Owners. So that being said, I think that there's plenty of room for Second Amendment activism. So I'm not going to be critical of them unless they earn that criticism. I am going to be supportive of them trying to make the NRA a good organization again, an effective organization again. I wish them the best of luck. And Doug, thank you. And Dave, who works for the NRA, thank you for inviting us. And we're looking forward to seeing where our circles overlap and what we can do together. I'm really not one of these people who, I don't criticize other Second Amendment organizations unless they really, really have earned it. NRA, I definitely came out and said, hey, I'm not happy with, a couple of things. But finally, it looks like they've turned a corner and they're doing some good things. So good. That's awesome. Next question. This is kind of interesting. Can you carry, if you have a CCW, can you carry at a restaurant that serves alcohol? Now that's interesting, and Alicia, I see you're shaking your head, but there's a thing here.
Okay.
There's a
I'm
thing.
ready.
You ready for this?
I'm
Ready
very
for
ready.
the thing? So here's exactly what it says in SB2. Quote, a building, so you can't carry at, quote, a building, real property, and parking area under the control of a vendor or an establishment where intoxicating liquor is sold for consumption on the premises. So that sounds like, hey, if they're selling any kind of alcohol, you can't carry, right?
I also heard that building. So if they have an outdoor seating area,
Right. But
Okay.
there's a key word in here.
liquor.
Yeah.
So if it's just beer,
Beer and wine is not liquor.
I like it.
Beer and wine is not liquor, folks. And if you look it up, beer is an undistilled alcoholic beverage. Well, liquor is distilled. Beer is made through fermentation, while liquor is made by distilling grains, fruits, and vegetables. Liquor typically has a higher alcohol concentration than beer. When bottled, liquor usually has an alcohol concentration of at least 30%, while beer typically has a maximum alcohol content of around 15%. But really, even that alcohol content, that's not what makes it liquor or not liquor.
Right.
What makes it liquor is that distilling process. Beer's not distilled. Beer's fermented. So it's not liquor. Same with wine. What do you think?
I just can't help but think that they can't be. I mean,
Well, I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice.
No.
By all means, you want to follow the advice of a properly licensed attorney, but we're going to get the feedback of a properly licensed attorney on this.
Absolutely. I'm just trying to think through the why. Like, why would they have worded it that way? They had to have known better because we know their intent.
Either they messed up, which I absolutely I don't think the incompetence of government is not surprising to me.
Right.
Or they were truly just trying to stop people from carrying in a bar and not necessarily at a restaurant that just happens to have a beer and wine license, or a grocery store. I don't know. You know what I mean? Something like that.
I don't see that being the reality, though.
I don't know either. But
I'm okay with it, though. But
everyone rest assured, I'm getting attorneys to weigh in on this week. Yeah. But pretty interesting. Kind of an interesting thought, though, right?
Yeah.
Of course, the real solution is to get this removed, and we're working on that. We're going to have an update here coming up soon from John Dillon, who's an attorney, and he's going to talk to you about what exactly is going on with these different lawsuits. That's the real solution. Let's get this thing removed legally, Okay, next one. Let's see. This is Frederick. He says, last week, I talked about the vote count nationwide. Was it significantly smaller than 2020? Now, that's a good question. So many of you have seen the meme that shows that 2020 and 2016 and 2012 had a certain amount of voters. And then 2020, the Biden victory over Trump, had this huge bubble of voters. And then 2024 had far fewer voters. You've seen that, right?
Right.
So the question is, how'd that happen? How come 2020 suddenly had, whatever it was, 10, 12 million additional voters? Well, I have an answer for you. Let's just kind of do some math. Can you do some math for me, Alicia?
Absolutely.
I'm not good with math. So in 2020, Biden got 81 million votes. So write that down, 81 million. Plus, Donald Trump got 74 million votes. So what is that, 155 million votes. So in 2020, there were 155 million votes. And both candidates got more votes than anybody else ever had. Like that, it was more than anybody ever had. It was a huge. Okay, so let's go back to the vote count. So the vote count, getting an echo again. Okay, so the vote count for Trump is 76 million. So write that down, 76 million. It's actually 76.8 million. And the vote count for Harris is 74.3 million. So how many does that equal?
Just 150 point.
1% more. So that's what's 1% of 150 million? So 1.5 million, right? So 1.5 million. So we're really only about 3 or maybe 4 million votes shy, which really kind of makes sense. The voter turnout wasn't as high this time around. The reason there was a bubble in 2020 was because of the COVID, and they just started doing mail-in ballots, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of hard to say. You know, we've been real critical of the idea that there's some kind of conspiracy. Although I got to tell you, I've seen some evidence here and there that made me go, hey, wait a minute, and perked my ears up. So a few weeks ago when I saw that the vote count was whatever, 10, 12 million off, that was another one where I was like, hey, wait. But I got to tell you, there just doesn't seem to be, a whole lot of evidence, or at least there's certainly no proof that there's any kind of weirdness going on with the ballots. Donald Trump won the popular vote. He's just barely got 50% of the popular vote. Harris got below 50%, about 48.4. He won the Electoral College. I got to tell you, he won the Electoral College pretty big time. Can you imagine if news and media had just been neutral, how much vote would have been, or how many more votes he would have gotten in the popular election?
They've never been neutral in any point in my lifetime. I don't even know what that would look like.
No, right? What would that even look like?
No, I have no idea.
So let's go one step further. So in California, it's pretty interesting. 38% of California, just over 38%, voted for Donald Trump. Kamala got 58.6%. And that is significantly better than it was. In fact, 8 counties that voted for Biden last time voted for Trump this time.
Wow.
8 counties. 8 counties. That's pretty amazing. Now, granted, most of those 8 counties are pretty long term, have been Republican, so they basically got recaptured. But the fact that Trump is got so close to 40%, Kamala really should have gotten about 60% of California, and she didn't. So Trump did a really, really good job in California. Let's see. Trump flipped 8 counties that were won by Biden in 2020. That includes Butte, Fresno, Inyo, Merced, Riverside, San Bernardino, San Joaquin, Stanislaus. I don't know how to say that. Stanislaus? I don't know. But it's pretty amazing that San Bernardino and Riverside, frankly, ever voted Democrat. They're fairly Republican, although their demographics are changing. As people are moving out of L.A., they're moving to places like Riverside. As people are moving out of San Diego, they're moving to places like Riverside and, of course, San Bernardino as well. So he did amazing, but I got to tell you, that is not a reason to rest on our laurels. That is a reason to strike while the iron's hot.
Absolutely. When you said just the Poway, for example, is just ahead by just a few dozen votes. That is, imagine if a few dozen people decided their vote didn't matter that day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the reality is, it's a great victory, but people who actually participated in that victory are really only in the dozen, maybe in the hundreds in San Diego County, in Riverside County, in Orange County. The people that actually are responsible for helping with that victory can be measured in the hundreds, probably not even the thousands, depending on how you measure, what they did. But people that actually stepped up, got out there, got people to go to the polls, or even donated to an organization, really maybe in the thousands, probably more like in the hundreds. So don't just be happy with a victory that someone else earned for you. Tough love here. Right now is the time to say, hey, you know what? I can see that good things can happen even in California. So now is the time for me to get a little more active. Just do one more thing than I did last year. If you're not a donor, especially to San Diego County gun owners, donate right now and say, hey, you know what? Good things are happening. I want to be a part of it. I want to be able to say that I helped, that I did something. Because right now, like I said, 99.9% or whatever, 99.5% of California who are happy, the people that are happy with this victory, 99.5% of them were no part of that victory. You sat on the sidelines while other people worked hard. Change that. See now that, hey, we can do good things. Support organizations that do good things, and give them your dime and your time. Okay, so there you go. That's the Q&A.